Hey guys, Carl Cooper here with On the Black, and I am joined by Matthew Silverman, who is a big-time Mets fan, and I'm just going to run down the list here, Matt. You are co-editor of Miracle Has Landed, Big League Ballparks, Maple Street Press Mets Annual. You are co-author with Keith Hernandez of Shea Goodbye, co-author of Mets, Cubs, and Red Sox by the Numbers, author of 100 Things Mets Fans Should Know and Do Before They Die, and Mets Essential, and you are the author of, and I have the book right here, New York Mets 50 Amazing Seasons. So how you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great, Carell. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Did I get everything there, or did I miss anything?
I think you got most of it, although for a shameless plug, I do have the Maple Street Press guide that I help put out every year.
Yep, and I have that as well too. I have that as well.
We're having a gathering next Tuesday, April 5th, at the Holiday Inn LaGuardia.
Oh, okay.
And all your listeners are invited. We're gonna watch the Mets Phillies game.
Ah, sweet. Very nice. So, hey, I mean, I wanted to talk to you tonight about, obviously, the New York Mets 50 Amazing Seasons book. Why don't you, if you wouldn't mind, just give us a little background on the book and how it came about?
Well, actually, through my website, metsilverman.com, they the MVP book about it, and it was a great project. They did a few of the books on different teams. They'd done a lot of NFL teams, the Giants among them, Patriots, and a few others, and they had done the Twins book, and they're based in Minneapolis, so they did a great job with that, and it gave me some motivation to try and beat that one, and so I essentially took it from there.
Cool. Well, I'm still getting through the book, and it is so far so good. I like it a lot. I mean, it looks like a lot of effort, time, and energy went into this. I'm not an author. I've never written a book, so I really don't have a grasp of what it all takes to kind of go to put together a book like this. I mean, what was some of the most challenging parts you had in terms of putting together sort of 50 years of the Mets?
Well, I went in there and, like I said, the Twins book, they'd really gone all out on, and it gave me some motivation to try and beat that. And I thought about some stuff that I knew, and I was born in the mid '60s and started following the Mets in the mid '70s, and I decided to go back and check everything that the stuff that I knew and thought I knew or what have you. And check all that stuff out from the source as close as I could. So I looked back at the New York Times and some other newspapers that went back there and found out some interesting stuff, and a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and was thankful to pass that along to everybody. It did take a lot longer doing it that way, and I did make the publisher pretty nuts, because I thought it would take a certain amount of time, and then after I'd spent over a month or so, and I was supposed to have done a large chunk of it. Through the '60s, we had to reassess the whole time thing on there, and they were very nice and wanted it to be as good as it could, and we worked accordingly. Nice.
How long did it take you to complete the book from when you started to when it went to print, I guess?
I think all in all, it probably took like 8 months.
Okay.
Including all the or a lifetime, depending how you look at it.
Yeah, right.
It ended up coming out pretty well. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't get to see. If I may indulge your viewership again, this little thing here that pulls out this little Mr. I didn't even notice this until the book arrived a couple of weeks ago. And they had a lot of surprises of stuff that I didn't expect, a lot of pictures that I didn't think they could get, and a lot of pictures I didn't know existed that they dug up. Because of the lateness of it, I really only got to look at it once after it was finished. So I was as surprised as a lot of the readers, and happily surprised, which is good.
Nice. Well, I know, as I'm going through the book, I like coming across things that maybe I didn't know before or that I just didn't kind of recognize in the past. One example of that is you've got a little area there on where you're looking at Howard Johnson's stats in his odd number years versus his even number years, and stuff like that I kind of find fascinating. Any particular part of the book, in your mind, kind of sticks out to you?
Well, that's funny you brought up the Hojo thing because Brett Saberhagen had a similar thing going, but it really didn't happen when he was with the Mets. It was more with the Royals. But there were a few things. Okay, I looked at every game that they played up until they finally won in 1962, and looked at a lot of the papers to see what the reaction was to the team. And while there's a lot of people who liked it, there was a lot of people who was like, "This team's just a loser," because they were just so incredibly bad. And to just see what the actual reaction at the time was, instead of assuming that this is the way that it was because that's the way people looked at it. So there's a lot of interesting stuff with that, and there's even some stuff that I lived through that I just didn't realize there was so much detail going on, and other stuff that I had completely forgotten about that was kind of fun to relive.
Nice, cool. Well, let me ask you a few questions about 2011 now. What are your? I mean, you are a lifelong Mets fan. What are your thoughts or expectations with this current group of players going into this season?
It should be interesting. It usually is. As we get closer to the season, I'm having a little more I think Terry Collins is looking more and more like a solid selection, just because you don't know where it is and where they are. And I think in a couple of years they might be ready for another manager, but I think at this point in time he might be a good call. Sandy, I was telling someone in an interview earlier that I was a little disappointed when Kevin Towers had signed with the Diamondbacks, because I was like, gosh, when are they going to? Couldn't they have fired Omar earlier and hired him?
Yeah.
Because I thought he did a great job with with very little out in San Diego for years and years, and I didn't even realize that Sandy Alderson might be available, or sign with the Mets to run it, and I'm really impressed with what he's done, and he's been pretty unflappable, and there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on.
Oh yeah.
That is flappable.
Oh yeah.
He's stood right there. I actually got to speak to him for about a minute when I was down in Port St. Lucie a few weeks ago.
Nice. And
very, was very engaging. Like the people. Was one-on-one, and never had and I just happened to run into him outside, and I could have been any crazy Mets fan and handed him a book and said, he's looking forward to all this other stuff and looking forward to the season, and told him I thought he was doing a great job, and I mean it. That I think he is doing a good job. Time will tell what will happen, and there's always a couple guys I wish are going to make the team and probably won't, but I thought they should have had Ruben Gotay instead of Fernando Tatis a couple of years ago, and that's why he's getting paid to be the GM, and I'm getting paid to write about it after the fact.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. I was a Gotay fan and supporter back a couple years ago myself. So, lastly, why don't you, if you would mind, tell the viewers where they can get a copy of the new book that you have.
Well, it's available on Amazon as well as at local bookstores, independent bookstores, as well as Barnes and Noble and many of the other outlets that, including Borders. They're not doing so well, but they have it as well. And there's a lot of other sites and places that sell books, Amazon that are all carrying it. There's some of them I hadn't even heard of before.
Cool.
Across that.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, Matt, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I'm enjoying the book so far. I'm sure I will, as I finish it up, I will continue to enjoy it as well, too. For those of you out there watching, please go ahead and visit Matt over at MatthewSilverman.com and be sure to pick up New York Mets 50 Amazing Seasons. Thanks for joining me, Matt.
Well, let me just say it's MetSilverman.com.
Oh, it's Matt Silverman. Okay, yeah.
Met, M-E-T.
Yep. Sorry about
like
that.
the team we're following. Matt was gone, so I went with Met, and glad I did.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Well, hey, thanks for joining me, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
All righty.